He's saying he likes this for people who punch. So as I jab, he's just tagging the inside of my lead leg. So he just leans out of the way, and then off of the lean, he just tags that front leg. And he's not hitting that hard, but he's hitting me right on the damn tendon, and it's kind of slappy. You feel it immediately, but after like 3, the tendon actually starts to swell. So see, he just barely moves out of the way of the jab. He's barely even parrying it, and then he just tags that leg really, really fast. And it's with his foot, like the top of his foot.
Number 1.
Oh, the tendon.
So I wasn't hitting him on the tendon because I didn't understand yet. So he's twanging my tendon. He's like not on the thigh, right here. So if you feel behind your knee, you'll feel a tendon on either side, and that's what you're tagging. If you have a partner and you try a few different places, you'll know right away what the right spot is. So he didn't want me to hook my foot, which is what I was trying to do, is like move his leg with a hooked foot. And he's like, no, it's very relaxed, it's very slappy. It's like just with the top of your foot, like kind of near your toes. It's hard to see with the shin pads on, but what he is doing with his hand really demonstrates it. And then you can see the looseness. The power comes from the like flick from his knee.
Good. 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 Good.
So he's like, keep your hand up and then throw on top of it. So he says you turn this kick on the leg into your jab. So jab, cross, jab, cross. And what's great is you can kick that leg off of their jab.
Jab, boxing, jab, one. Same, Muay Thai.
So in Muay Thai, your jab is this little flick kick. So he's showing me that I'm not hitting the same spot every time. I'm going like high, low, high, low. You want to hit that same spot every time. It starts to take effect really quickly. And it sucks. He was making fun of me because I kept looking at his leg. So he knew I was going to kick it. He's like, don't look where you're about to kick. He's like, look at me. So here he's showing how to just do a very small parry off of his jab and kick at the same time. I'm kind of sloppy about it, but it's just a very small, like, touch of the glove. So you can see he just leans away from the jab a little bit. And then just like you can throw that right cross, you can throw that jumping leg kick. What's cool about this, using the kicks as the jab cross, is that you're cutting across the body twice, right? So you're kind of like going to the right on the inner leg kick, and then you go hard to the left. So he's saying if you're far away, you step to do the leg kick. He's like, if you're far away and you try to jump, it's not beautiful, but if you step, it looks good. But when you're close, you want to do the jump kick. It's like sit down a little bit.
When you're far, you take a step. When you're close, you jump. But it's hard to worse for near and far sound the same.
So I kind of surprised him by asking him to work clinching with me. Because he's done so much grappling, I saw that he had some very interesting low clinch. I surprised him a lot by putting him on the ground. I don't think that he thought that was going to happen at all. And so I joked and said that's probably the only time I'll be able to do that. But you can see how tight he keeps his arms to keep everything in the center, and he's always driving his hips forward. He's really, really good at that. And so he gets you kind of like pushing on him, and then he'll reverse the momentum, which is how he trips most of the time. But you can see the arch of his body, how his hips bend forward, and then he'll bring his hips back to strike. He actually dropped me really hard just then. He put his knee underneath my knee and just tipped me backwards. And I fell a little bit hard, which is why I made a big deal about it. But you can see there, he's just kind of dipping his weight into my leg and then pulling in the opposite direction.
Have him help you, babe.
So you can see the straightness of his right arm, and then he immediately goes low. And I cannot get out of that position. I'm strong. And because my weight has already bent and my ass is already back, it's really hard to correct that position. And the more he starts to come forward, the more I start putting my hips back, which is actually way worse for me. It means that I can't kind of counter what he's doing. He just basically stepped slightly behind me and then pushed with his shoulders there. He really likes to knee into the thighs. It's not only is it painful, but it throws you off balance a lot, and it makes you not really able to grab and do whatever your game plan is. Here, I'm not locking properly. It was like the one move I had, and I didn't go down. But he's locking well behind my head. And I basically have double outside position, which means that all I can do is muscle it. When you're using angles, you really want to be on the inside. But when you're on the outside like that, it's all strength, and you can get really tired. So I'm trying to move him on angles. But he has a really good grip behind my neck. There, you can see that lock. And he's starting to bounce, which means that I can't even get my legs up to try to score. But here he shows me that lock.
Yeah.
So you go behind the head, and then the other hand locks behind it. And then he's going to put his head on my jaw, basically. It's actually really painful, and the tighter he squeezes, the more it's weakening your entire body, because the jaw muscle has this nerve that goes all around that makes you kind of go lax when you push into it. And then the back of the neck starts to make you kind of fall apart as well. But so he's showing how to use your shoulder. It's like a vice. He's showing that on my head. So his shoulder is making it so that my head can't move out of the way. And then he uses his head on the other side of it to kind of vice grip everything. So he pushes my arm up so that my own arm is kind of against my neck. And I'm stuck, like I can't get out of that. And he's showing how relaxed he is just with his arms. So I'm putting the lock and my head on the opposite sides of the way that they need to be. And you need to get their arm. You need to go under one of their arms.
He has his head here, and he's pinching here, so you're like choking.
Yeah, you can't breathe.
But learn it, baby, learn it.
So you go under that one arm, and then my lock should actually be on the other side. I was able to get my head into his jaw there and put my lock
And then
behind his
instead of
head.
pulling this, like the vice the way you normally do, you just pull it into your own head on the back of his head.
So it was actually that pinching that made him tap. But if I had had my lock on the opposite side as the shoulder of his that I had pinched, it would have been much tighter.
What's the secret?
Pinches
With
the neck,
the
which
top of the
takes away
head?
all of your strength.
The top of the head?
Yeah. He puts it like in the jaw.
There, so you have to lock behind that shoulder.
So you get to the side of his
And
body.
when you turn?
So you don't want to be squared up. You do want to start migrating towards the side of their body, and you can spin, right? So you just keep trying to go behind them. And if they start to get out, you can grab their back. But otherwise, you can just kind of crush them down to the ground like this. I can't get out of that.
You
You have to go to the side.
Bye. Make the chicken.
Side.
So he's like, don't just sit there. You got to keep moving. You got to go to the side.
Don't. Okay.
So you do have to have a squeeze on it.
Good. Ah.
The shoulder?
So he's saying it's important to push your shoulder in. It immobilizes the head, and then you put your head in, and that's how you start to crush.
If it's loose and flat, it doesn't hurt, but if yeah. Because their head is in here. You're like crushing everything.
You can see how useless my arm is from that lock. So now he's starting to take outside position every now and then, but he uses it to jerk into a new position, whereas I'm kind of trying to just muscle it from the outside. So he changes pace, like there where he jerked my head down twice. He'll kind of slowly move to different positions and then very quickly move to the best position. And there, how he slipped behind me, that was almost a single motion from when he grabbed me. So here, slow, slow, slow. And then he speeds up and gets me in a headlock.